Hi, welcome to another edition of the Second Syndicate tonight. We've got a very special guest, Representative Carlos Barron, who is in the State House and serves on the Energy and Environment Committee. Uh, Thank you for being here tonight, sir. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Teddy. Alicia, thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And you won't have a hard time saying Alicia.
Alicia,
She gets everybody with that.
I know.
It's normal.
Right?
It's
And then everybody says Barron or Baron. It's Barron.
Barron. I will try to roll my R's. I'm not the best at that. I'll try. Well, glad
He
to have you
tries.
tonight. We're going to tell us a little bit about yourself, sir. What you do in the House of Representatives, and how you feel about the Second Amendment, and where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, of course. Well, I want to start from the beginning. I'm a Mexican-born immigrant that came to the United States when I was one, with my parents on a work visa to work at the Longmont tree farm. As soon as they arrived, they started the process of becoming legalized, and they included me in that. So we became legalized 4 years later as a permanent residents. I didn't become a U.S. citizen until the year 2010, 1 year before I got married. I don't know what took me so long to do so. I guess it's more the fact that I got more involved in politics to the point where I realized politics, it causes everything in your daily life is revolves around politics, every little single thing. And that's what I realized, especially your paycheck. When I got my first paycheck, I was all excited doing the math. I'm getting paid $10 an hour. I work 40 hours, I'm going to get paid a lot of money, and I got my check and like, this is not what I counted.
Where'd it go?
And then I saw the taxes. I'm like, really? And that's really what really got me involved in politics, to be honest. But I started in politics here in the city of Fort Lupton. I was appointed onto the city planning commission. I was really close friends with my friend Thomas Holton, who I went to high school with. His father was a former mayor of Fort Lupton, and when he was turned out as mayor, he got into city council, and that's where I really got pushed into the policy because I really followed him around. He was like my mentor, political mentor to be precise, and he pushed me into being on the planning commission. Unfortunately, we lost Tommy Holton this year. At the beginning of the year, it was one of those things that it was something coming. He was battling cancer for a while, but it really did hurt to lose my mentor in politics. He was the guy that I would call when I had a question, either political or campaign wise, or even just somebody to talk to and get and have his opinion on something a decision I had to make in politics. But I'm still good friends with his son, Thomas Holden. Of course, I coach a baseball team with him. Both our boys are the same age, so we coach our boys in baseball. We just barely got started not too long ago. So, and then when I got on the planning commission, I was there for 2 years, and I realized, you know what, planning commission's cool. I got my feet wet, but I really can't make a decision here. All I have to do is just make sure that everything that comes through us is up to code, city code, and then just move it up to council. So I can't really make a decision. So I wanted to make that decision. So I ran for city council, and I won my seat on city council. I was on city council for 3 years. I was still on my first term when Representative Gabe Evans decided to run for Congress. And I was good friends with Gabe before this. He lives in the city of Fort Lupton as well. And him and a couple other people called me up and said, "Hey, you should run for my seat. I'm running for Congress," and that's how I got involved.
Nice. That's awesome. Shout out to Gabe Evans and
Mhm.
from us,
I had
not
a
just
meeting with him a
myself, but
couple weeks ago. Great dude.
Yeah.
all of us. Please accept our deepest condolences for your loss, man. I know how I've lost a very important mentor to me also, and I understand, and I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate
So
that.
I'm sure he's very proud of the work that you're doing, though.
Yes.
Each one teach one.
Mhm.
We say that all the time, not only in the firearm space but in the educational space. So
Yeah.
shout out to your mentor and his family.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, talking about your history and your past, I mean, you've lived the American dream, legally immigrating, working in your father's business, serving in city government, and now the legislator. What does that journey say about the differences between America and where you came from?
Well, in my opinion, I didn't really live in Mexico very long to see a difference. I do go down to Mexico and visit. I still have family down there.
Sure.
My parents have a house down there that we go visit every once in a while. Actually, my dad is down there right now.
Nice.
And yeah, it's talking to the people that family that are here as well. They see a big difference between Mexico and coming here. This is the land of opportunity. This is the land that will give you the opportunity you need, and it gave my parents and myself the opportunity we wanted. And that's the reason why I love this country so much, and that's the reason why I wanted to become a part of this country. And that's what I'm trying to push to everybody else that immigrates here. Say, hey, you know what? You going through the process of becoming a U.S. citizen, it gives you that sort of feeling of, wow, this is something really nice. I want to be a part of this. Knowing the history, I had to study for a test. There was 120 questions of American history. What the all these questions. I had to study 120 questions, and they only asked me 3 in the test.
Yeah,
And I don't
I've
know
actually
which.
helped some of my friends study for
Yeah.
that test, and the sad thing is most high school students these days probably couldn't pass that test.
Yeah, and I know all the answers to those questions, and people should be able to just look at those questions, and even if you're not taking the test, just read those questions, study them. It's really important for you to know this kind of stuff, and that's what we lost in this country. Is a lot of people don't realize the importance of, how many stripes are on the American flag? What do they represent? How many stars? What do they represent? That's the important thing. And I actually, after I became a citizen, I helped my sister-in-law who married my brother become a U.S. citizen too. I helped her study for the test.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, she's really excited. She got to vote for the first time this last election, and she voted for me.
Good for her.
There you go.
But when the question came up, when is Independence Day? And she says July 4th. She knew that, but I expanded on that. I said, yes, July 4th is officially Independence Day, but did you know that the Declaration of Independence was not signed on July 4th? It was finished on July 4th, and that's what it was ratified, but not signed until August 2nd of 1776. She did not know that. So when you expand on those history, you have more of a feeling of, wow, there's a lot that I did not know about this country, and makes you more proud to be a part of it.
I believe the Second Amendment wasn't even ratified until 1791.
No.
Yeah, it was after the Articles of Confederation during the Constitutional Congress. Yeah, it's good things to know. Good things to know for sure. And it's good to hear that the American dream is still alive and well, albeit maybe on life support as of recent, but hopefully coming back strong.
I disagree. I mean, we just had Lily Tang Williams on our show not too long ago, and she's her story is very similar to yours. Immigrated legally, staunch patriot, works very, very hard, and I'm over here, and I truly feel that we're changing the world. We're gaining momentum. I think that things are going to swing our way, and we're sitting here talking about like your story, your family story, obviously your sister, and all these people that have come here and acclimated, to our way of life. And it reflects dedication. It reflects self-reliance, hard work. And those are all conservative values, right? Those are all faith and, hardcore conservative values. So why do you think stories like this aren't told more often in the media? And what do you think we can do to, remedy that?
So the thing that I really talk to people in the Hispanic community when they ask me, why are you a Republican? You're Mexican. You were Mexican born. You should be a Democrat. I'm like, no. Think about it. When you're raised in a Mexican family and in a Latino family, period, you're raised with the thoughts of fe, familia y patria, which is faith, family, and patriotism. That's the Republican way.
Yeah.
So why would I be a Democrat? And that's what I keep telling them. Like, no, I'm not a Democrat. Well, Republicans.
Yeah. I was going to say traditionally Hispanics, Latinas, they more identify with conservative values versus liberal values.
I have a theory about that, and I'll expand on this real quick, and then we'll get into a commercial break. But to me, I think it's because at some point, one of our ancestors was an immigrant, right? either it was your generation or an older generation. And a lot of the times when immigrants came to America, especially in older generations, they were incentivized to do so by the Democratic Party. Like, oh, we'll give you help, we'll assist you. It's some sort of handout in a way, some incentive for them to come in. And, we talk about the foundation of like Latino Mexicano values, and that is it's loyalty also, and it's dedication. And we're also taught to, keep your head down and work and not draw attention to yourself, and work hard and maintain loyalty to those that were loyal to you. And it's like, hey, at one point, 4 generations ago, our family was given this because of the Democratic Party, and forever, everybody's always dedicated to that because of the one thing that they did for the family, rather than think about all the things that they had to pay out. Like, we've already paid that debt. It's time to start realizing, like, what are they doing for us now? You're only as good as your last effort. And I see that that's one of the things that's afflicting our communities here. But I think, Teddy, do you want to introduce our new commercial?
Sure. Well, we'll just do this I'll just walk everybody through this. Guys, we do have our bonfire store up for the Second Syndicate. We're dropping merch frequently on that channel. All the proceeds go to the Second Syndicate, as well as the Second Amendment for activism. We have some new shirts that we're going to be dropping very shortly here, including our Polish for Prison shirt, our Tom Sullivan Gun Salesman of the Year, and our Julia Gonzalez Commie Clown shirt will be coming out here very quickly. Probably today or tomorrow, I'm thinking. I'll have to check with Carl on that. But guys, definitely check out we'll put the link in the description below. Definitely go to Bonfire, check out the Second Syndicate store, check out the merch. Those proceeds, like I said, we're a 501c4 non-for-profit, go towards the fight and to the Second Syndicate as well.
Well, there is a shirt on the Bonfire store right now that today is the last day to get it before the print is run. So if you go to the Bonfire store right now at it's bonfire.com/store/the-Second Syndicate, go there and grab yourself a Second Syndicate shirt and really help support us. We are a new organization. We just got our feet wet. We're doing our best to punch forward and represent for the people, but we need your help. We need your support, and go there and show some love. Get yourself a cool t-shirt and represent for the 2A.
Yeah, Carl, can we show that Polish for Prison shirt again? Because I just think that's pretty awesome.
I think you did a great job on that. Shout out to my co-host and my partner in the Second Syndicate, Teddy Collins, for designing that. He was like, oh, he handled that so good. I'm like, yeah, bro.
Yeah, what is he wanted for again, Carl? I think he's wanted for tyranny, treason, libertarian LARPing, crimes of that nature.
Assault on the 2A.
Assault on the 2A. So yeah, definitely check out our store, guys. Check out the merch. But yeah, let's get back into it.
So we were just talking about, the left and how, the agenda and the indoctrination that comes with, the things that we have been told, pushing that narrative that the Republican Party is anti-immigrant. So as someone who came here, obviously legally, do you feel that narrative is fair? Do you think it's intentionally misleading to divide communities? Do you think there's a bigger and deeper agenda than what we know of?
No, the Republican Party is not anti-immigrant. We know that this country is built on immigrants. And I keep saying this at the well to my Democrat colleagues, that I'm the example.
Yeah,
I'm the example of coming here, working my butt off, and doing what I need to do to be able to be where I am, to take my family forward. We just want it to be the legal way. And that's something that I'm pushing 100%, is that we shouldn't be focusing on all these immigration bills that incentivize people to stay here illegally.
Yeah.
That's not what we want. We want to push the federal government to be able to streamline the immigration process.
Absolutely.
While keeping the vetting process in place. Of course, we got to be able to vet people that are coming in, just to make sure they're not here to do harm to our citizens, to do harm to the country. But to streamline that process, like President Ronald Reagan is the last president that actually made a what was that called, an amnesty. Yes. My wife became a permanent resident through Ronald Reagan, and guess what? Ronald Reagan was a Republican.
He was.
It's
I mean, this country was built on immigrants, sir, and we do want immigrants. We just want the right people to be coming into this country, and we want to make sure we vet them, as you just said. We need immigrants here. I mean, some of the best achievements America's had has been through immigrants. Nikolai Tesla. You look at Albert Einstein was an immigrant who fled Germany. It's Without immigrants, we would not be a
We
country.
wouldn't be America.
No, no, and that's 100% true. And like I said, I'm trying to convince my Democrat colleagues in the House that, you know what, we should be focusing on writing a letter to our congressman, to our immigration department in D.C. to sit down with us, sit down with some of the states, some of us representatives, make a plan to streamline this process. Hopefully, we can make a meeting with President Trump to be able to help him and encourage him. Hey, let's work on this, because to the way it is right now, it's actually pushing people away from trying to become a part of this country, because
It is. It's a difficult process. I have some
It is.
friends who
It
have
is.
master's
Mhm.
degrees they achieved here in the United States, and because they were here on a student visa, they have to go through a long process getting sponsored by an employer, all this extra steps that shouldn't be required because they're highly educated people who want to be a contributing member of our society. And there's just a lot of barriers. There's a lot of red tape that could be eliminated while still keeping a vetting process in place, as well as an educational process, which I do think is important for immigrants to have when they come into the state, to know what they need to be prideful of if they're going to be part of the society.
Yeah.
So 100%, if you can do that, I mean, definitely. And I know you're pretty close with Trump as well. I've been to your office. I've seen the pictures of you and him and all over the place, man. So that's got to be a cool
That's awesome.
relationship. Has he ever said it? This is not real off script a little bit here. Has he ever said anything to you, or have you ever had an interesting conversation with him? That's just,
I think you were in the wrong office, Teddy. I've never met Trump.
oh, have you not? I
No.
remember seeing pictures. Okay. Maybe,
Me and Gabe Evans, maybe.
my bad. My bad. Sorry.
Oh, because those two are really hard to confuse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
my bad.
but I can't say that I've met Trump. I would want to, of course. I would love to meet him. Yeah.
Maybe I just saw pictures all over the wall. Maybe that's what
Yeah, I do have my Trump
Maybe it's
bobblehead
not
on my
psychic.
desk in my office, and my Trump what was it, a sticker on my window.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Well, cool. All right.
You want the next question, Teddy?
Sure. I'll take the next question. Do you believe there's a difference between immigration and assimilation, and what role does patriotism play in helping first generation families thrive in America?
Well, the help first generation. Well, this is the thing. If people are coming here for the American dream, this country will help them. Just doing hard work will help them succeed in this country, and that's what we need to do as a government. Get out of the way of these people.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. Let them succeed on their own. We're passing bills and regulations and all and incentives, like you said, Alicia, to prevent them from really achieving greatness in this country, because these bills and these incentives actually help them and incentivize them to stay here illegally and just depend on the government. And that's not the Republican way. The Republican way is you earn what you keep. I mean, you work hard for what you earn. That's what I'm trying to say, and we should get out of the way of that. And that's my point of view, is that the government is here to protect your rights, and that is it. We're not here to give you what you want. You should earn it yourself by us getting out of the way.
When I was a kid, one of the lessons that always stood out to me, my father would teach me, the old saying, I can catch a fish and feed you, or I could teach you fish for yourself.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, my family's mestizo, very Mexicano, very Spanish. And, there's a lot of those old school lessons of that. Hey, you know what? You may not understand it now, and I'm a little hard on you. Maybe, I make you work a little harder right now when you're young, but it's because I want to make you better than what I am. And it's the same thing that applies to society. We need to incentivize these people to be able to feed themselves and to, educate them in a sense that we're giving you the tools that you need to thrive. But this is not a forever thing. This is assistance, not forever. And I think that that's great. People always fall on hard times, and I don't think there's anything wrong when people fall on hard times to use their tax money to get a little bit of that help back. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a dependency. It should be a level up.
Absolutely.
And you hit it right on the nail right on the head there, Alicia. You can teach a person how to fish, or you can fish for them.
Mhm.
And that's what the Democrats are doing. They're trying to fish for them.
Mhm.
We want to teach them how to fish and get out of their way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Are we going to have a commercial break at this
We
moment?
got a couple minutes. We'll go on to the next question, I think.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
How can
Republican leaders? That's my turn.
You go for
It's
it.
my turn, Teddy. So for all of you out there wondering like why I am not in studio with Teddy, it's because, well, I don't live where Teddy lives, and usually I come to the studio to film the show, but I have a flight that I'm going to catch here in a minute, and it's just difficult for me to be traveling all over. So Teddy was like, why are you not going to be right here? This is not fair. But I told him, I was like, I have
all by
to be
myself in this
on
big empty
this-
studio. I mean,
I was like, I want to be in on this interview because I personally find you very inspiring, Representative. And I think that, I mean, a lot of people all the time, they see our names and they see, your name's Gente. And I was raised to always, be like, vote blue no matter who, and always vote for the Latino, always vote for the Chicano, like, oh, you see, their last name is Gente. And I was just talking to Valdemar about this, Archuleta. I said, you know what if that person though doesn't reflect my values? I shouldn't be voting, based on someone's name. I should be voting on someone's belief systems and how they benefit me and the best interest that affects me and my livelihood. So I think we have to get out of that mindset that we have to be dedicated to people based on, nationality or orientation or, any of those things. We need to be focused on what's best for us as a people and as a state based on policy. And, I'm not saying that I'm not inspired by the fact that, you are an immigrant and, we're brown and we're proud and all that stuff. But you know what I mean? There's other people that are also brown that don't vote the way we need them to.
we will go to a brief commercial break before we go to that next question. I think we are ready now. Thank you.
Awesome.
Be back with you here shortly.
Hello,
And we do
everyone.
have some 2A
I'm
topics to talk
excited
about.
to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Welcome
the
back,
main-
guys. So that was brought to you by one of our sponsors, Mike Lindell. As you know, he is running for governor against good old Tampon Tim. So definitely support Mike. He is a patriot. He has been producing product in America before it was cool and before it was tariffed. So support American people. Remember, our promo code if you do purchase anything over on the MyPillow or from Mike Lindell is the 2ND. All right, guys. So back to the questions here. How can Republican leaders better connect with immigrant families, especially Mexican and Central American communities, in a way that's authentic and lasting and doesn't just come off as lip service?
No, I understand that 100%. A lot of people tell us that, that we're only interested in the minority communities during election season. That is not true. When I came into the Republican Party, especially when I came into the state house, I was welcomed with open arms, not because I was Mexican, not because I was Hispanic, but because I had the same values. And like I said before, Teddy, the way that we should approach the Hispanic community as Republicans is those 3 things that I taught you that we were raised as, fe, familia, y patria, faith, family, and patriotism. That's our way. And that's the Hispanic way, and that's the way I got through some of the people that really questioned me about being a Republican. They automatically think that I'm a Uncle Tom, I'm a racist because I'm Republican. No, that's far from the truth. I just work hard for my money, and I want you to work hard for your money and keep.
You want to keep more of it.
Yeah, keep your money.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to tax you to death. Us Republicans don't want to tax you to death. We just um we just want you to earn your money. Are you still there? I'm sorry, I got
Yeah,
something
no,
on my.
you're good. We can hear you.
No, but yeah, that's the thing that we want to be able to give to tell the Hispanic communities that we want you to keep your money. We don't want to tax you. What you work for, you should keep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Taxation is theft, in my opinion. So,
Well, people also forget that, for every Jim Crow law that there was a Juan Crow. We were just as undesired as other races. If you weren't, white Protestant, you weren't welcome. So it's very important that we re-embrace these standards of liberty. And it comes from people that look like us, because, it's different when someone that doesn't understand your struggle starts speaking on liberty and things of that nature. It's like, no, man, like we come from the same background. We're the same people, but we're all American. And that's the beautiful thing, is like, these are all not just, original values that come from like gente and familia. It comes from America. Like, these are American values as well. But, not to go off on a tangent, but since you are a first generation American, what do you want? Like Latino, Hispanic, and Chicano voters to know about the promise and responsibility of freedom in this country? What are the things that we want to embrace and kind of perpetuate?
Well, the things that like I said, the things that we want to perpetuate is that the Latino community should know that the government is not here to give you what you want. You should earn what you want. We're here to protect your rights and your right to work in this country, and that's what we should actually be telling them. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud to be a Mexican. I still have family in my house. My kids, while we're in the house, we speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
In the house, we speak Spanish. Outside the house, you can speak whatever you want. And my wife knows Italian as well.
Oh, wow.
So we're they can speak whatever they want outside the house. They can speak English. They're fluent in English. They're fluent in Spanish. They know a little of Italian because of my wife. So, like, teaching that, it's so important to be bilingual.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a country where there's so many Hispanics. We should be able to communicate with our people in our native language. But we also keep in mind we are in the United States. This is the country that gave us our opportunity. This is the country that's given us our opportunity and given us the American dream. We should respect it, and that's what I do. I respect it, and I'm respecting it in this way. I'm serving back my country by serving in the state legislature,
and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Teddy, you're up.
All right. Well, let's see. You came to this country legally from Mexico as a first-generation American.
We just asked him that, my homie.
My bad. I'm just not doing it today, am I?
It's okay. It's all right. So I'll take over. Teddy's
You're not
having a hard time over there.
You're not here.
So-
It's messing with my flow.
Oh, you see what he does to me? See what he does to me? He blames me for everything. I get no love.
It's all your fault, Alicia. It's all
Hey,
your
he
fault.
treats me like
It's all your fault.
what's that old guy who hey, wouldn't have no luck if it wasn't bad luck. What was that guy? Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Dangerfield. So we're talking about the Democratic Party, and for a very, very long time, the Democratic Party has claimed to speak for Latinos and Mexicanos and Hispanics through the voters, and yet they push policies that limit opportunity and attack small businesses like Teddy's business, and while they restrict freedoms like gun ownership. I mean, this is a two-way platform, so let's dive into the gun ownership part. But why do you think so many in this community still vote Democrat, and how do we break that cycle? I know that we touched upon that a little bit earlier, but from your perspective, what do you think is the reason, and how do we sever that link and bring more enlightenment to the people?
Well, because it has to do with two parts, to be honest, Alicia and Teddy. First part is the Latino community is raised, like you said, Alicia, a vote blue no matter who.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that into their system, like, oh, we're Democrat because we're Latinos. So that plays a little part into that. That's kind of breaking off a little bit. So as of late, a lot of Latino people voted for Trump. But and the other part is because the Democrats, what they do is they tie these bills that are really going against them in a nice little wrapping paper and put a nice little bow on it to make it look pretty, but underneath it's ugly. It's really ugly. So they're really good at tying those bows really nice for it to look good and win and keep winning them elections. But But what we do and what we listen to in the House and in committee, unfortunately, the committee is not televised, and we're trying to do that to televise committee meetings because that's when they say the most ridiculous things in committee meetings.
Yeah, I've heard
You
some
can
of those.
Yeah, you can listen to it online, but a lot of people don't know where to go to listen to that online. I try to share that every once in a while on my socials. Hey, we're having a committee meeting. This bill's coming up. Here's the link to listen in. But it's unfortunate that not a lot of people have the time to do so. But if we start televising it, maybe there's more. There's video of all this coming out, and it'll be on social media more. But what we do and what we listen to in committees on these bills is ridiculous, and we try to argue these points like, yes, you have good intentions with this bill, but look at the unintended consequences it's going to actually do. For example, I'm a landlord myself, my wife and I. There was 26 anti-landlord bills that went through this year, and we keep telling them, oh, they're saying, oh, we're lowering the price of living, we're lowering the price of homes by doing this bill, tax incentives this, tax incentives that. But in reality, what they're actually doing is that they're putting unfunded mandates on landlords, on builders. And what are they going to do? They're not going to eat that cost. They're going to raise the prices. So what they intended to do to lower the price is actually making the prices higher because they're not going to
Price
eat that
controls
cost.
don't work.
No, it doesn't work. So, and that's what we try to argue at the well, what we try to argue in committee. Unfortunately, not a lot of people listen to that. Not a lot of people tune in. I try to share as much as I can on my socials so people can see a little bit more, but I can only go so far. We just need more people to get a little bit more involved and maybe take one day out of the week to look over some of the stuff that went through the House, through the legislature, and just dive into those topics that are more important to them so they can understand what's going on.
So I'm going to cut in on this here in a second and say, that's one of the things that we tried to do, and we're working on doing more, and we're more than happy to be an ally for you as a second syndicate for those committee hearings. If there's things that you want us to highlight, that's the beauty of about us being a media organization, is we're happy
we've
blast that out.
streamed a few of the hearings, especially the gun hearings this legislative session, and it got a lot of viewers. We had a lot of people watching and engaged. We need more people.
Teddy, why don't you take number 9?
That's what I was going to do. In your view, what are the top cultural or spiritual
number 8.
values?
We just went over that, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
I think
My
he's
sheet's off.
purposely doing that.
I have a different sheet than you.
I think he's purposely doing this to me because I didn't come to the studio.
That's what it is.
He's trolling me without trolling me, because that's Teddy.
All right. You take the next one. I think our sheets are off.
Okay.
It's entertaining though, Alicia. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining.
He's just jealous. Do you believe that language barriers, media manipulation, or even immigration-related fear tactics are being used by the left to keep Latino and Chicano communities politically dependent?
Most definitely, especially immigration tactics. Fear mongering on immigration is actually a big deal to the Democrats here in the House. And TDS is so strong here with the Democrats.
Yeah.
Trump deranged syndrome is so strong. They keep blaming Trump for everything.
Yeah.
We heard it all legislative session.
And recently this year, the Elon deranged syndrome has been creeping up as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's ridiculous how people.
Syndrome.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how people are going against what Elon is actually trying to do, trying to cut wasteful spending in our federal government and corruption, and they're going against that. Like, seriously, he's finding so much, he's showing so much, and they're still thinking that he's cutting this and cutting that and making everything more expensive. No, he's actually cutting prices. How can people go against that? So yes, there is a lot of tactics that the Democrats are using, especially in the House on immigration. And their denial of what happened in that apartment building in Aurora is pretty astounding.
Oh, yeah.
They're still in denial that nothing happened there when there is so much evidence. Even Governor Polis went back on what he said of you're imagining this. No, it actually happened.
It actually happened.
And that's what President Trump is trying to do, is get rid of those criminals. Those are the people that we don't want here.
Yeah, we're not arresting people at their jobs or people working that are contributing to society. We're arresting the worst of the worst. They're taking the worst of the worst out of this country. Rapists, traffickers, child predators, people that have committed crimes, the people that should not be here in this society, the people that do not have a right to be here in this society. I guess, how do we begin the work of political emancipating Hispanic families, especially younger generations, from a system that sees them as votes, not as people, convictions, and heritage?
Get out of their way, basically. Just get out of their way. Stop passing bills that regulate their industries. Stop passing bills that regulate the industries of things that they buy, that they consume, that raises the cost of that. If we get out of their way, they'll either ignore us, or they'll be like, you know what? Maybe there's something going on here. Let me look into the legislature. Let me look into what we're doing at the state capitol. That's really helping us. Because other than that, it's just spreading the word. Just spreading the word. I say, hey, I'm here. I represent you. Each representative has to do our part, of course. I represent you. This is what I'm doing for you. This is what I believe. Now, you tell me if that's what you want. If he disagrees, I keep that in mind, because I'm now in a position where I have to listen to my constituents. It's not just my beliefs. I have my beliefs, of course, but I have to listen to the people I represent. And when I go and talk to them about what I believe, of course, I start off with that. And then they tell me, you know what, I like this part, but I disagree with this part. Okay, let me listen to what you have to say. I'll keep that in mind when I see something coming across my desk that has to do with that situation. That way I know, you know what, there's a few constituents in my district that actually don't like this. Even though I agree with it, let me look more into it. Then that's when my job comes into play. I talk to more of my constituents. Say, you know what, this is coming across my desk. I understand there's a few people that don't like this. What's your belief? And then I make the calls to the people I trust. I call my Congressman Gabe Evans. He's a good friend of mine. I call the people that I really like. I really admire their opinion, and they live in my district.
Yeah.
So that's the way that we get people more involved, in my opinion. And if you have any other way, please share.
Absolutely. We actually,
that
hopefully,
very
we'll have Gabe here on the show too. Just speaking of Gabe Evans, we've reached out to him, and hopefully he'll come on here soon. We'll see.
We actually were at his office not too long ago. So Gabe's office is literally like 5 minutes from my house. So a couple years ago, when Gabe was serving in the House, him and I had some really good banter, because he's very pro-gun. And I really could count on him to know that he's going to ask me very objective and important questions when I'm in public committee hearing, to elaborate on the importance of, my perspective on two-way bills. And I really appreciated that. So when I saw that he was running for higher office, he absolutely had my vote and our support. And I'm really glad to see the work that he's doing thus far. Shout out to Gabe.
Absolutely. We might see some of his important work go to fruition tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. You want to take it?
Sure. Rep. Barron, this legislative session in Colorado, it's been one of the most aggressive anti-2A legislative sessions that I've seen in my history in Colorado. What bills concern you the most, and which ones kind of flew under the radar? Because, SB 003 kind of sucked the majority of the attention. So which ones concern you the most, and which ones didn't get the attention they deserved as well?
Well, the attention, I don't know if there was so much attention on HB 1133, which is the requirements for sale of firearms ammunition. That raised the age limit to 21 for people to buy certain ammunition. It excluded the 22 caliber, of course, but everything else, it raised the age. And their messaging on that is like, well, last year we raised the age for handguns. Why can't we? Now we're just trying to level the playing field on that. Like, last year you passed that bill and it shouldn't have been passed anyway.
Absolutely. And they say that the slippery slope argument, it's a fallacy in debate, but it's not. That's literally what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing every year.
Exactly.
I'm scared what 2026 holds for us. But,
and HB 1238, another one that went through the gun show requirements.
Yeah, that's gun shows.
Introducing new requirements and restrictions for gun shows. Now they're their whole argument on this is like, oh, people are getting their guns stolen in parking lots at gun shows. Like, really?
I don't
Like,
think there's a situation of that I even know of. I would like to see
I
stats on that.
and that's what we asked at the well. They couldn't give us any stats either.
Of course
But
not.
now they're going to require more cameras. If you're going to do a gun show, in the state of Colorado, you have to put cameras in every angle of the parking lot.
And
Like
you have to
that-
insure the parking lot of a building you don't even own.
Exactly. So that's an unfunded mandate that goes towards gun shows. It's basically just inching away at taking away gun shows.
That's their.
I'm a
that's
conspiracy
their goal. It's
theorist.
1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep.
I really believe this is about surveillance, and what I think a lot of the people out there don't understand is these are violating more than just your Second Amendment rights. These are violating your right to privacy. This is violating your right to, have the pursuit of liberty. There shouldn't be. I feel like we're being spied upon, and now they're getting surveillance on who's going to these gun shows. Who's to say that they're not taking down license plate numbers and recording these things and documenting these things with all this AI now and facial recognition? That stuff terrifies me, man. I mean,
It does. Yeah.
I really
There's a
am now
lot of
worried about what they're going to start doing and asking more people. And I think we get into that, like you said, that slippery slope of, well, we just did this. Well, we just need to do this. And it becomes more compromise and more compromise and more compromise. And we forget that we don't have to compromise.
Yeah, they're just doing it.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing it piece by piece, so it doesn't look as bad to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
I'm really of the opinion that the reason that they amended the SB003 to take effect next year versus this year in September is they plan to amend that bill and make it more restrictive next legislative session.
Mm.
That's my thoughts. I don't know. Have you heard anything about that?
We have not heard anything about that either, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, and another thing. This is off script a little bit as well, but another thing that has been rumor is the armory bill that we heard rumor that they were going to try to introduce during the lightning round of the legislative session, but I'm assuming 2026 looks ripe for that. Have you heard anything about the armory bill or the limitation on the amount of guns an individual can own?
Good question.
Yeah, all we hear is the same rumors that you hear, and you probably hear those rumors from legislators that are here right now. Yeah, and that's something that we don't know either, and we were prepared for that bill this year.
Yeah.
But since so many of these bills went down this year, I think they're saving it for next year as well. And we'll be prepared to fight that one as well.
We need to, and anything that our organization and any other two organization can do to help you guys prepare for that battle, we are gearing up and working together to prepare for 2026. We know it's coming.
I just want to say that one of the ways you can help the Second Syndicate, everybody out there, is please hit that subscribe. Please hit that bell. Please follow us on all of our platforms on Rumble. Share our content. Like, sharing our stuff is free. And it really helps us because we're facing a lot of shadow banning. Shout out to Ex-American News for giving us a national platform to bring more freedom in the Second Amendment to all the people of America, not just Colorado. But we need your help, and we need to be able to do that. And that's how you can support us. We appreciate it.
Sure. Not tonight, I don't think, Carl, on that. Sorry, I've got someone talking to me there. No problem. Guys, let's move into the next question. Governor Polis and the Democrats last year passed a bill which essentially requires FFLs to get a separate license just to operate. That's going into effect this July. And I mean, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but one of the issues we've been seeing as an FFL is they haven't even established the process for us to get that license. We've started the process, but we can't even get fingerprinted. And they are saying now that they may not have a code in time for us to be within compliance come July 1st. But regardless of that, what kind of impact do you think that specific bill, this new licensing bill that goes into effect in July, has on gun shops, and specifically family-run gun stores in rural communities like some of the communities that you represent?
Yeah, most definitely. That bill that passed last year, unfortunately, I wasn't a part of that. Unfortunately, that last year we were also only 19 Republicans. This year we gained 3 seats. So that's really going to affect a lot of the rural communities. It's a $400 permit state permit. You already have to have your federal firearms license. Now you have to have another state license. Like, it's just fee after fee after fee being implemented by the state.
And
And
bureaucracy and paperwork after paperwork. Now we're
red
subject to
tape,
state inspection and all this other stuff that isn't necessary. The
other
Fed does a pretty damn
unfunded
good job of it
mandates.
already.
Yep. Other unfunded mandates while receiving $400 every 3 years.
Absolutely.
Like, that's-
I
that's-
know. I can tell you, I'm also the vice president of the Colorado Federal Firearms Licensee Association, and I have seen numerous amount of, especially home FFLs, that are turning their license in. They don't want
Yeah.
anything to do with this. I've seen FFLs close shop here in the state of Colorado and move their business to Wyoming or to Nebraska or Kansas or somewhere else across state lines to not have to deal with this. That's lost revenue for the state of Colorado. That's in a huge deficit.
And I keep saying this, a lot of the Republicans in Wyoming love our Democrat legislators.
Oh,
They love them because all the business is going to them.
We lost
Yeah.
Magpul.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Used to be in Boulder.
I'm also involved in the CFFLA. I do a lot of the public relations and government relations and member relations for the CFFLA. And for everybody else, for everybody out there listening, that's the Colorado Federal Firearms Licensee Association that was established last quarter of the year 2024 because of all of the horrific legislation that we were getting towards FFLs, because they are attacking not only the right to bear arms, but the people that
FFLs.
provide them and the services that provide them. So
They're
if you'd like to
attacking
get
the
involved in
right
that,
to bear
please-
arms through the businesses that provide that right, that provide you the ability to access that right. That's their goal, and that's their constitutional argument is that we're not. They're and I'm gonna put it in their terms. We're not denying your right to own these items. We're denying your right to purchase these items.
That's right.
That's their argument.
Mhm.
And right now, we're going to have James Cook, who is also on the board of the CFFLA, who's one of the
It's our
biggest.
legal counsel. Yeah.
He's one of the biggest attorneys here in Colorado, and he works with Firearms Legal Protection. Shout out to both of those people because they're amazing, great organizations. But please stay tuned and follow us for all of that stuff, because we have really, really great organizations that are going to be not only featured on our show, but that we're also affiliated with. And you can, if you are an FFL or you know a gun shop in Colorado, please reach out to them and ask them if they're involved in the CFFLA. And if not, have them reach out to Teddy, have them reach out to myself or anybody else there. You can go to the CFFLA.org website and you could sign up and reach out to us, because we need as many boots on the ground and many people to be as organized to fight against these people. Right now, we have a great opportunity now that the legislative session is over to get more people involved in all aspects of this fight.
Absolutely. Alicia, do you want to take the next one?
Oh, are we not going to go to a commercial break?
No.
Oh, hey. All right. So I'm pretty sure that we already know your answer about this, Representative, but do you believe these gun laws are actually about public safety, or they seem more like a cultural attack on gun ownership and rural values? Because we're seeing those are the people that are suffering the most when it comes to the loss of gun shops. Like, not saying that it's not an attack on like Spartan Defense, who is of course one of our greatest, biggest sponsors on this show. But I mean, at least there's, and I don't mean this to be bad, but there's other gun shops here in this area that people have that choice. When you go to a rural area, that is their only FFL. That is their only gun shop. So if
Yeah,
they
you don't have a
lose access to-
Shields in eastern Colorado or
Yeah.
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really going to detriment their availability to retrieve the tools that they need to in dire circumstance.
Not only limiting the amount of gun shops in your rural area, but also raising the prices on those guns, because the FFLs are not going to eat that cost.
We can't.
Yeah,
Gun margin,
they have,
people don't understand this. Gun margin is super thin. We're talking single digits in the majority of cases, especially after card fees and things like that most FFLs eat. You can't eat those costs. And with all these new expenses, prices are going to have to go up. I mean, I've heard this from a numerous amount of our members. Transfer rates, things of that nature are going to have to increase in order for them to be able to pay their employees.
Yeah. So back to your question, no, they are putting that nice little ribbon, like I said, the Democrats are putting that nice little ribbon to saying that, oh, we're preventing mass shooting, we're preventing gun violence. No, you're not. You're just creating a new crime, because
And a black
the previously law-abiding gun owner it is now going to be a criminal if he doesn't follow with the new regulations that you're putting forward.
Absolutely.
And that's what basically what they're doing. They're not preventing gun violence. They're not preventing mass shootings, because most of those mass shootings were stolen weapons.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see law-abiding citizens steal weapons. They actually can go and buy them, but now you're preventing them from doing that. So you're just creating another crime from somebody that previously followed the law. So yeah, they put that nice little bow and nice wrapping paper saying, "Oh, we're doing this for the community. We're preventing gun violence. We're trying to prevent mass shootings." You're not.
And we just saw what happened in El Paso County with the bus that they did. Over 100 illegals that were here that all have criminal histories. What was going on in that underground club? Sex trafficking, prostitution, trafficking of drugs. Every single one of them was armed. Like, it's ridiculous. So it's like, okay, Colorado was what? Last year it was 6th in the nation for gun control. Now with the passage of SB 003 and the other stuff, we're now in the top 3. Yeah. What did any of those laws do to prevent every single person who was here illegally from being armed? Nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Colorado. Commie Colorado. Germs. Oh yeah.
Not yet. We can take this state back. We're going to. I'm not giving up the fight. I hope you won't either. We need to band together. We need to continue the fight.
That's what I'm here for, Teddy. I'm not giving up either. That's why I'm serving. That's why I'm working hard to get more Republicans elected in these districts that we really need, and keeping our two districts up north, HD 19 with Representative Dan Woog, House District 50 with Representative Ryan Gonzalez. Those are 2 seats that the Democrats desperately want back. Absolutely. So we're working hard to keep those seats red while
I'm sure they want Rep Kelty's district too. She won only by a few votes.
Yeah. She won by 3. That's 3 votes.
Don't say your vote doesn't matter, guys. Show up, vote.
Never say that.
Absolutely. As a state representative from a working class district, how do you explain to your constituents what's at stake when politicians try to regulate gun ownership through taxes, licenses, red tape?
Basically, just raising the cost, just trying to prevent you from being able to afford to buy a gun and practice your Second Amendment. That's what I tell my people in my districts. Like, this is what the Democrats are doing to you. They're not saying they're trying not to say the quiet part out loud, but they do not want you to buy guns anymore. And that's what they're trying to do by raising the fees, raising the regulation for FFLs, raising the age limit to buy ammunition, to buy handguns. They're trying to prevent you from even trying to affording to buy these guns. And that's what we're trying to battle against.
Absolutely.
How do you suggest that we combat that?
Getting more Republicans elected. Because honestly, look, we can, and this is what we've done that last year and in the last few years. We talked for hours. On SB3, we had on second reading, we had them there for 14 hours.
Yes, you did.
We're talking and talking and talking. It doesn't matter what we do. We don't have the numbers. That's what we need. We need the numbers.
Yeah.
Because
we need to get you guys out of the basement, as they say.
We can keep them there for 2 days straight. They already know how they're going to vote. We just need more numbers.
Absolutely. I think, I've talked about ballot propositions before, and we see the left running ballot propositions every year. We don't see enough coming from the right or enough coming from conservatives or libertarians to kind of put some safeguards on the legislator in any way. I mean, in a lot of states, legislation requires more than a simple majority mob rule to pass. I always like to use my home state of Texas as an example, which the entire legislature requires a 2/3 majority vote for any bill to pass. I feel like something like that could go a long way to provide safeguards regardless of who's in the majority or the minority, and create bipartisan support for bills. It also might reduce the amount of regulation we see in our daily life. Have the Republican Party talked about doing anything like that, or if they were to retake power, to kind of limit and regulate like Tabor when they take power?
That has been tried in the past. Unfortunately, we don't have the numbers.
Yes.
We've tried to limit the time that we're in session, to limit them from passing so many bills. That still didn't pass. The thing is that um, I'm glad you brought up that, like, petitions.
Yeah,
The
petitions and ballot
Republicans bring in
props.
a lot of these bills. What the Democrats are doing, and what we always battle them on, and we always bring up this amendment. They put safety clauses on these bills so people cannot petition them.
Oh, okay.
So that's the unfortunate thing. They put safety clauses on these bills so people cannot petition them. And we always bring up the amendment. Why put a safety clause? Why not let the people allow the people to petition this? And they always vote it down because they always argue that, oh, this is a safety matter. You're not making things safer by making people go through a 12-hour class to buy their firearm.
No.
We
And
have
let's be honest, if they did want it to be about safety in any way, they would have made it the CCW class, which already exists, instead of making it this brand new scheme that's being pawned off on CPW, who doesn't even want this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. The rationale is not there. It's obviously just to restrict our rights and restrict gun ownership and make gun ownership and gun owners a dying breed. That's my thoughts, at least.
Yeah.
It's also a cultural attack. Like they're demonizing gun ownership by, for example, we have that bill that snotty faced Stephen Woodrow proposed to. Oh, I just can't stand that son of a gun. I really am doing my best not to cuss and say how I really feel.
I think,
but what he's doing, he proposed the bill to make it illegal for gun owners to be in possession of firearms, not only in polling places, but anything where government work is being done. And even though we already have laws that say that you can't carry firearms or conceal firearms in polling places, what he's wanting to do is demonize firearms ownership by essentially saying, just by being in possession of a gun, you are intimidating and you intend to do harm, which is absolutely the antithesis of the point of carrying a firearm. The point of concealing a firearm is to making sure that nobody can intend harm on me or push harm on my well-being or force me to do anything against my will. Is our ability to say no and resist. And by creating bills and enacting bills and supporting bills like that, what they're doing is they're planting that seed, not only just for the generation that we have right now, but the generations to come, by associating firearms ownership with something negative. And they're doing that from so many angles. It's just disgusting to see how they're making it seem like people like us that, quote unquote, are law abiding. Now, like you said, we're becoming the criminals. We're becoming the outlaws because we're not violating anything. What we're doing is existing and we're exercising our civil rights that were given by God, but they're making it so difficult that they're pushing us into a corner where it's like, at some point, they're robbing us of the ability to still be law abiding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we have some people in the chat, and I really want to say shout out to them. We have the Chainsaw Caucus out there, and shout out to the Chainsaw Caucus. They're such great supporters of our channel, and they're such great supporters of the Second Syndicate, so I appreciate them. But we have Will Long in the chat, and he says, how does Carlos, Representative Barron, feel about Kelty's effective call for Article 2, Section 2 dissolution in light of the infringements against natural rights in Colorado?
I haven't talked to Representative Kelty about that yet. Actually, this is the first I hear about it, so I would probably give her a call and see what she's intending to do with that. But this is the first I've heard about it.
I love when we have these types of conversations. We've had Representative Kelty on our show also. She's very nice, and we're very, happy to see that she's representing for the good voice and some rationale in the Gold Dome right now. It's a pleasure to see so many people share the same common fight. And I just want to say thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for bringing your perspectives to our show. That's the whole goal here at the Second Syndicate, is to unite people and give more of a human voice to politics. I was always raised not to be involved in politics, and that politics was bad for some reason, and it was a negative thing. Like, we don't talk about politics, we don't talk about religion with people and friends, and it's like, why are we not having these conversations? We need to start encouraging people to speak about politics and get more involved. One of the things that I do at the beginning of my concealed carry classes, I ask everybody, hey, do you know who the quarterback is of the Broncos? Do you know who's, on the nuggets. And then I'm like, do you know what district you're in? Do you know who your senator is? Do you know who your House representative is? And it's very, very scarce that people even know those things. And
They know the unimportant things. They don't know the important things.
Exactly. And that's the things that we're here to combat and fix here at the Second Syndicate. And by having people like you on the show, it helps that tremendously. So thank you from us and our team.
And that's one of the questions on that you have to study for becoming an American citizen. Do you know who your current representative is? You know who your congressman is? You know who your governor is?
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions they ask. So of course it changes every time, but that's one of the questions that you have to know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions that you want to delve into, my friend? Teddy?
I mean, is there anything you would like to say about the Second Amendment, or anything that, we need to be prepared for 2026? Anything that you would like to talk about?
Well, like the one thing that, of course, a lot of your listeners already know that I'm pro Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment wholeheartedly. I own guns myself. My favorite gun is my Marlin 4570. I love that gun. I waited 2 years for that gun because when Ruger took over Marlin, it's now a Ruger made. It was hard to get when it first started. So I waited 2 years to get that gun, and when it finally came in, I was so happy. I put my name on two lists, one in the pawn shop in Brighton and another one at Shields. So I got the call from the pawn shop in Brighton first. Oh, I want to go get it. I went to go buy it. 3 days later, Shields calls me up. Hey, we got the gun in.
It happens
awesome.
like that.
I went to go get it too, and I sold it to my brother.
There you go. Smart man. And
that's Mike Severson over at Rocky Mountain Pawn, right?
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Pawn in Brighton. Yep.
They're a great pawn shop.
I love that. That's where I usually get all my guns.
And do you have the SBL or the Trapper? Which one are you sporting?
I got the Trapper.
Okay, that's what I have as well. I converted one of those into a tactical Trapper with suppressor and side saddle and adjustable stock, all that good stuff. It's T-Rex rated, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
It's the only gun that could take down a T-Rex.
Small arms. Yes, sir. And any quote from you, sir, that you'd like to leave us with? Something from your personal.
Well, there's one thing that I always say when I'm battling the anti-gun bills at the House is that there's this quote that always comes to mind when I see these bills come through the House. That General Emiliano Zapata said, and this is something I always say at the well. Every time I have to talk on these bills, I remember what he said. Prefiero morir de pie que vivir la vida arrodillado. Which means I'd rather die on my feet to live my life on my knees.
Dang right, man.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're living our life on our knees, begging to have our rights back that we rightfully have and deserve already.
Very good, sir. That's a great way to end the show.
I appreciate that. But we have one more question. Yeah. What's your everyday carry?
Glock 19.
All right. Yep. Reliability. Like it.
Good old reliable there.
No.
Well, we
really appreciate this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on tonight. We
appreciate it. And please, for your listeners, if our
how can people follow you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
My social media is Carlos Barron on Facebook, Rep Carlos Barron on X. I also have a Instagram and a LinkedIn. They're all the same, Representative Carlos Barron. But if you please visit my website, carlos4colorado.com. It's Carlos FOR Colorado.com. Please, if you can donate, we have another election coming up.
Yeah,
I'm in a pretty safe seat, but I still need some money to be able to pay for signs and knock doors and make some calls. I usually when I'm running unopposed, I dedicate my time to helping other Republicans get elected in the northern Colorado, and that's what we're trying to do here right now.
Yes,
wonderful. We appreciate that because
we do have that information in the description as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for being our guest tonight, sir. You have a great evening, and we'll
you
see
too.
you soon at the Capitol.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Teddy.
Yes,
Alicia,
sir.
have a good vacation.
God bless.
Good night.
God bless.
Well, great guest tonight, Alicia. That was awesome. It was good to hear from him, hear about the Hispanic community and their involvement in 2A and all that good stuff. On a national aspect, something that we didn't get to speak a lot about tonight, but something I want to bring up as a little preview for people that are listening tonight. An undisclosed source, but a very reliable source, has told me that this week
don't do it. We're not supposed
Well, let's just say pay attention to the news in the next couple days. Something good for 2A. It may not be as good as people wanted, but it's a step in the right direction. Will be
Don't
happening
spill the
this
beans.
week. I won't spill the beans. Come on now. That would be good. All right. We don't have to say who or what.
We can't spill the beans.
Okay. Well, I'll keep my mouth
We've
shut.
given our word that we're not going to spill the beans.
You gave your word. All right.
I speak for we. We're a we now.
All right. We're Never mind.
we.
I'll stop. Good news on the horizon. Pay attention to your news channels tomorrow. Something big is happening. ...
And I think right now we have on our screen, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the polls for prison for crimes committed for tyranny, treason, and oath breaking. We have some really cool swag. Help us out, guys. Go buy some stuff at the Bonfire store. Donate. We do have a Give, Send, Go you can go to at the Second Syndicate and support our 501c4 movement. This is a really, really critical time of things that we can be doing to build momentum and flip these seats and get in these soft districts and get some more liberty-based and liberty-focused people in that gold dome to represent for our freedoms. But, we are of the people. And we are by the people.
retake a chamber next legislative session, or
That's right.
honestly, we need the governorship so we have the power of veto, because taking a chamber would be nice, but we need someone for checks and balances in that office to bring some saneness back to the state of Colorado. So
do you want to start talking about some of those people that we're going to have on the show?
Yeah, so we've already had Scott Bottoms, Representative Scott Bottoms, who's running for governor. We've already had Sheriff Mikesell, who's also running for governor. And June 19th, we will have Mr. Griffin, who is running for governor as well. I'm very excited to hear from him as well. Joshua Griffin. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So we'll have him on the 19th, and that'll be a really good show that you guys should tune in on. Excuse me. Next week we have, refresh my memory, who do we have on next week, Alicia?
Next week, we are going to have the Second Amendment Foundation. We have William Sack from the Second Amendment Foundation. He is a attorney for the Second Amendment Foundation, and he did an interview with myself, and he's interviewing with our stand-in, our good friend Mike Lauber from Ex America News.
And I will
And
be out again on my vacation. This whole month has been vacations essentially for one of us or the other.
well, one vacation. I get to have one vacation, but then I will be headed to Atlanta, Georgia for Train and Learn from Kevin Dixie's No Other Choice Train and Learn. If you guys aren't familiar with that
Take
event.
a fan with you when you go. Okay.
Oh,
It's hot over there.
I know. I'm in Georgia every year for Memorial Day weekend for this event. And just shout out to all the good people, especially people like Kevin Dixie, that are out here actually putting in the work to support the Second Amendment from internally. There's a lot of goofy things going on right now with the two-way. We just saw a huge issue that has exploded the internet today about, Silencer Central?
Yeah, I saw that. I need confirmation on that. I don't know. I would like to see some confirmation before I make a statement on, but if true, it's pretty damning.
Well, there is some very, very crazy things happening right now in the two-way space. Some good, some bad, but we need the people to be involved, and we need you to follow us. We need you to share our content, hit that bell, subscribe, share our stuff with your friends, and start having conversations about who the Second Syndicate is. Tell people about us. Send people to our show. Send people to our channel. Help us out, because guess what? We need to come back and we need to resurrect the qualities that are valuable here in the state of Colorado, and that's not going to happen without the voluntary efforts of we the people, and that includes all of us. So just keep it in mind that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we need to keep you informed as well. So the legislative session may be over, but it's not time to tune out. We got things going on the national stage, which we will have an update this week, which we'll hopefully talk about next week. We'll see. Like I said, stay tuned. But pay attention. Let's be prepared now for 2026 and what 2026 is going to bring for us, whether it be the state legislator or what's going on now on the national level. We have to pay attention. And yeah, the Silencer Central thing, if true, is definitely concerning. We'll leave it at that.
And so we have some really cool guests coming up in the next month or two. We have John Lott of the Crime Prevention Research Center. That's going to be amazing. He does a lot of work that is funding research and does a lot of research to support the Second Amendment and the actual true numbers of what happens in crime and how guns actually de-escalate a lot of violence. We have James Cook of the CFFLA, who is also an FFL himself. He is on the board, and he is helping propose a lot of groundbreaking legislation that we are working on with the CFFLA to help support ballot initiatives and some changes that are going on in DC as well.
Yeah,
We're
and
going
what
to have
changed-
Josh Salem and
Sorry.
Hannah Goodman from the Libertarian Party talk about the differences and the unification of the Republican Party versus the Libertarian Party. We're going to have some really, really cool guests coming up. So thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, and make sure that you donate, you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe, and you share our content.
Absolutely, guys. And don't forget, visit the bonfire. Check out our shirts. I think some of y'all are going to want that Polis for Prison shirt and our upcoming Tom Sullivan Salesman of the Year shirt.
Have we shared, so I can't stand Julie Gonzalez. Julie Gonzalez, if you're out there, I can't stand you.
She's got a crush on you, though.
She has a crush on Twinkie. Let's just put it that way. That girl has a crush on grocery stores.
Oh, my God.
And trust me, I like a little cushion for the pushing. I am not a skinny
Don't
by
go
any
there.
means,
Oh, my
but hey, you know, let's just not open that can of worms. Do we have that shirt that we've designed of hers yet ready to go? Or
It's coming. It's coming soon. The image is done. We're working on the text right now. So,
okay.
and then the Sullivan one turned out pretty awesome as well. So
You've been doing a really good job designing that stuff, brother. I'm really proud of you, man. You're doing a good job. You tell me that you're not a designer, but I'm seeing what you're working with, and those things are looking pretty awesome, bro. Shout out to Teddy.
That's good.
And shout out to Spartan Defense. I know Representative Barron just got off the channel with us, but give all your business to local gun shops, and please, if you can,
Yeah, guys. I
hit up
honestly,
SpartanDefense.com.
I don't get. You know, if you come to SpartanDefense.com, shop with us, that's great. We appreciate it, guys. But support your local gun shop as well, whether it be through transfers or or purchases of accessories, ammo, whatever it may be. Support your locals. Try to avoid the big box if you can. Support local when it comes down to it. When we were at the Capitol this legislative session, testifying, talking to state reps in the room, trying to bring amendments to these bills to water this bill down as much as possible, if not kill this bill, we didn't see a single big box store show up to testify, or their representatives in any way. All we saw were local stores that banded together to try to fight against this. So support those guys, because they're the only ones that are standing between your rights and the anti-gunners out there.
And you know who also I would like to give a shout out to, who was down at the Capitol and who has been very pinnacle in supporting not only the Second Syndicate, but fighting for Colorado, is the NRA. I've been seeing some posts of people, you know, everybody wants to hate on the NRA, and
A lot of negativity out there for sure.
but you know,
Leadership has changed over, to be fair. There is a completely new leadership in charge of the NRA, and they're doing a much better job than the previous leadership was.
and they're still the biggest dog in the fight, and they still have the deepest pockets. And whether we like it or not, or you know, people may not be talking about it, they're footing the bill for a lot of these lawsuits that are going
like
on
against the 6.5% excise tax. They're one of them in CSSA, and I believe it was a GOA or FB. It was
no,
GOA.
it's FTC and the
FPC.
Second Amendment Foundation.
FPC and the Second Amendment Foundation are floating the bill for that lawsuit. That's going to be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit to try to remove the 6.5% excise tax on your rights.
So the Second Amendment Foundation is a very mysterious organization. When I'm on X or any other platform, I often get tagged by people, you know, the peanut gallery, saying, hey, you know, where's the Second Amendment Foundation? Or hey, the Second Amendment Foundation, and wanting them to see the posts and the things that we're doing. I actually sat down with the Second Amendment Foundation and Firearms Policy Coalition in January at SHOT Show. And they're a very diligent and very intelligent organization. They are not here to do work like our local organizations are. They're doing some other things. And if you're very curious to see what the Second Amendment Foundation is and what they have to say, tune next week on Thursday on this channel live at 7:30. You can also catch us on X American News. Shout out to them, because we will have Bill Sack on the show, and we will be interviewing him. He is one of the lead attorneys for the Second Amendment Foundation, and we will be discussing a lot of the things that they're doing and what they're working on as well. So we can kind of take away that shroud of mystery of what the Second Amendment Foundation is doing, because they are helping out in the ways that they can.
Absolutely. And, we've had a lot of organizations. We've had everybody from RMGO to CSSA and now Second Amendment Foundation. We
NRA.
plan to have many more on the show here soon. So stay tuned. Absolutely, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I think that concludes our show. Tune in next week, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. for another live with the Second Amendment Foundation as our guest with William Sack. It'll be a great episode, and we hope to see you there. God bless. Stay safe. Stay armed. Stay educated. Thank
Peace
you,
out, guys.
Peace.